Hello, so here we are, ready to make a start on today's list of jobs. It's just started absolutely pouring down outside here, so I won't be cutting any grass today or pumping any water. It's raining. I've got way too many jars here for my tomatoes, but I'm going to be doing some apples later as well, so too many jars is better than not enough jars. These are half a litre, 3/4 of a pint. So I'm going to take off my lids and put them, I've got a bowl here that I'm going to put my lids into, and just as I'm ready to put my cooked tomatoes into the jars, I'll cover my lids in boiling water to sterilise them. My jars I'm going to put into the oven. I don't know what temperature the oven's supposed to be. Hot, but not so hot your jars crack. I think I'll definitely get 3 jars of tomato. Be interesting, maybe 4. If I get more than that, I'll be very surprised. I'm thinking about 3. I don't know, 3 or 4 jars. See if I'm right. These are going in the oven. There, 150 degrees centigrade. I reckon that'll be plenty hot enough. And all my lids I'm going to put on the other side of the kitchen by the kettle. When I'm ready to jar up my tomatoes, I'll pour boiling water on my lids. My big chopping knife, chop chop chop. I've got several different varieties of tomatoes here. They're all going into the mix. So here goes. I'm not doing anything else special to them, I'm just chopping them into pieces. Taking the green bit off the top, because we don't want that green bit in our soups. So I'm going to chop these all up, put them in this saucepan and cook them over the stove until they're mushy. I want them fully cooked because I'm going to make soup. I'm not making tinned tomatoes to go in bologneses and pasta sauce. I'm making tomatoes to puree up and turn into soup. These little tiny ones, I do still cut them even though they're small, just to split the skin, get them open and allow all those juices to cook out into our sauce. So we'll see you in a moment when these are all chopped up and boiling in the pan. Saucepan of tomatoes, just over 2.5 kilograms of tomatoes. I don't know what that is in pounds. All chopped up in a pan, yummy. So I'm just going to heat them on the stovetop until they're soft, mushy and bubbling. Then while this is cooking, I'm going to prepare my stick blender. I'm going to get my stick blender ready. I need it for a little bit yet, because when these are all cooked and pureed down to them, all cooked and wet and juicy, I'll let them boil for a bit longer to evaporate off a little of the liquid to strengthen the tomato flavour, and then I will blitz it up with my stick blender before it's ready to go into my kilner jars. So when this is ready to blitz, I suppose, I'll see you again, we'll blitz it up. Hello again, it's been a good hour and a half, maybe 2 hours actually. My tomatoes have been bubbling away on the stove here. I've left them cooking for so long, not because it takes that long to cook, but because I wanted to reduce some of this liquid in the tomatoes by evaporating it off to give me a stronger, more concentrated flavour in my finished tomato. It will be a tomato soup, but at the moment it's just going to be canned pureed tomato mush. I can turn the heat off of them now. I'm going to, ouch, ooh, I've just poured boiling water over my jar lid. So I'm going to get my hot jars out the oven now. They've not been in the oven, they've been in the oven all this time, they haven't been hot all this time. I realised how long my soup was taking, so I turned the oven off, but it was turned back on again maybe 20 minutes ago, up to 150 degrees centigrade to get those jars well, keep them nice and sterilised. It also stops the glassware taking a severe shock when I put the boiling hot tomato soup into them. I think we definitely need 3, we might need 4. So, bubbling tomato mixture. I'm going to use my stick blender to blend it all up into a smooth, soupy puree. So we'll cut this bit out because it'll be far too noisy. Seeds, skins, everything. Everything from the tomato that I chopped up and put in the pan is still in the pan. It's not been sieved or filtered or put through a mesh. I'm having all that tomatoey goodness in my homemade tomato soup. Looking good, it's getting nice and thick. I'm also going to do is add a little pinch of salt at this stage. Some sea salt into my soup. Yes. Salt to taste. So mix it all up, take a little taste, see what you think. You might want to put pepper in it as well, or some garlic, or any herby flavours you want to add at this point. Salt to taste. That's all I can say about that, really. Bring this over closer to my stovetop. And spoon in my lovely thick tomatoey soup. Oh, splattered it on the worktop already. How many jars do you think we're going to get? You can't tell because you can't see in the pan. That's not fair, is it? Now we don't want to fill our jars right to the very, very top. Just as the neck starts narrowing is where we want to be stopping. Leave ourselves a little bit of gap at the top. Let's pop a lid on that one. There we go. Oh, one hot lid on the top. Okay, not quite to the very, very top. Leave a little airspace. I'm not sure why we leave a little airspace. Ow! If you think there's any risk you've splashed anything on the edge of your jars, we'll wipe around the surface before you put your metal lids on. Oh, I don't like bumping over there. We'll do that one first. I know to some of you out there, this seems like an awful lot of effort for a couple of cans of tomato soup. In my opinion, it's very worth it. These are my own tomatoes that I grew myself. I know what they've been fed with and watered in. I know they've got no chemicals or pesticides on them. There's no extra preservatives in this jar of soup. Hardly any spare. I was hoping I might have 4.5 jars. Might have. And we take our screw tops and screw them on. Ow. Ow! It really is. It's really hot. Get that out of the film. There we go. Where's my towel? No. And my breadboard. it's wooden, we'll just place these hot jars on. Now if you're a proper canning, proper prepper canning like you should, these jars ought now to go into a deep pan of boiling water, enough to cover the lids and boil, I think for about, only needs to be 10 minutes or so. I don't have a pan big enough, so I'm going to have to take my chances. I've sterilised my jars, I've sterilised my lids. The tomato soup went in boiling hot. So if these have made a good seal, these lids, I can bounce up and down now, make that clicky noise. As the soups start to cool down, these lids will make a popping sound. And that's them sealed. And they all need to pop. And if at any time in storage, this top of your jar starts to bulge slightly instead of being sunken in, then this is fermenting and going off and producing gases and stuff inside. So you need to throw it away then, really. It's no good. And keep the jar, just throw away the contents. Start again next time. But everything being sterilised and boiling hot, there shouldn't be any microbes or bacteria able to survive in this environment. And I'm very confident these will last very nicely. A couple of years if they need to, but I'll have eaten them in a few months. So I've made 4 jars of my tomato soup mix today. It'll actually make more than 4 jars worth of soup. When I come to make this into soup, I'll take my lids off and heat up the contents of my jar, to which I will add some double cream, just runny liquid double cream, and stir that through, and that will give me a wonderful cream of tomato soup. At that point, if I choose to, I could add some onion powder or garlic powder, a little bit of basil, extra flavours and things then. I like preserving it in this very basic, just tomato and salt, because I feel happier that it's going to keep and last, because I'm not able to boil it in a proper canner after I've gone through this process. If I was able to can it by boiling it for another 15 minutes in the jars, then maybe I would add my creams and things in advance. I'm much happier with it like this. So that's it. 4 jars of canned tomato soup. Now to rinse out that pan and get cooking some apples, to do exactly the same process with some apples to make an apple pie filling. Well, I've had a wonderful busy day. I've managed to prepare all those apples into a wonderful apple pie filling. So I now have 11 jars of apple pie filling to see me through the winter months. Along with that, I made my 4 cans of tomato soup. So we've got those. So lots of apple pie. Ooh, nice colour contrast. And a little bit of tomato soup. Earlier this morning we were looking at all the hazelnuts. 2.5 kilos of hazelnut. And so far, a few sunflower seeds as well. So all good things ready to go into the store cupboard for our winter harvest. A pretty successful day, I would say. Lots of wonderful homegrown food prepared and ready to go into store for winter munching. Wonderful. So whatever you're doing, have fun doing it, and I'll see you next time. Bye!